Oh, hello, and welcome to Al Dente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey. E stands for evil.
And I'm the gamer in yellow.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. And for our last episode of Ichor Fall 2020, we have Act of Kindness. So, Act of Kindness, as with the other previous submitted stories, they are just that, submitted stories on the Ichor Falls community site by fans of Ichor Falls. This one was submitted by a person named AR, and I guess I will just dive into this rundown. So we read this police report about a disturbance at a motel in the village of Vernon. Gunshots were fired. Someone broke in the door, and the room is all bloodied and messed up. No victim, no perpetrator, though there was a letter. The letter is by the tenant and victim that was in the room, narrator, if you will, since we don't really get a name to our the person who wrote the letter, and about this act of kindness to a strange homeless man he met in Ichor Falls. The hobo was always happy when Nair saw him, except for this one time where he wasn't so happy, and he was out in the rain and such. So Nair decided to be nice and bring him over to a diner to get out of the rain and give him some food, and they chatted it up. Hobo turned out to be named Owens, and he talked about his time in World War II, the tragedy of losing his whole family in the Ethelor summer of Ichor Falls, and when he went to Vietnam. And the reason why he kept throwing himself into danger is because he wanted to die, because he lost all his family during the Ethelor summer. And it wasn't until the Vietnam War that he found a village over there where he received a special little box that, if you perform a ritual correctly, it would show you great happiness, regardless of your troubles. So, according to the ritual, is that you have to go out to a hill where there are no man-made structures on adjacent hills at midnight on a new moon, and turn off all your lights before opening the box. Owens gives Nair the box and then leaves the diner and kind of Nair's life. He never sees him again after this. So Nair goes out of town a little later to a hill he believes will work for this whole situation, because he figures, what the hell, let's do this ritual. What could happen, right? Anyway, when he does the ritual, dark, shadowy things show up and confront him and seem to want to do him harm. He shoots one and then drives off. At his home, they surround his house. He calls the cops, but then they all hide away from the cops until they leave. But then daytime happens and they don't attack him. So Nair eventually flees town, even leaving the state, and is now at this motel writing this letter. The creatures are outside of the motel room at the time of his writing this, and he is ready to face them. He realizes in the last bit of his note why this is all happening and what he did wrong. Apparently there was a rundown shed on one of the hills that he just didn't notice earlier. He signs off the letter asking to the reader of the note to spread the word of toying with destiny. The police report then ends, and the case is closed and the files are sent off to be destroyed. And that's about the end of the story.
Except for the files that we just read.
Exactly. We'll get into that in the actual thoughts. So I guess on to his favorite section of our show. Honestly, if someone does enjoy the Grammar Inquisition, I would like them to post a comment or contact us and let us know, because I'm really curious if this is actually someone's favorite bit.
I feel like we would get more comments about people posting that they hate that this is
our first email to this. Please stop.
Yeah.
But yeah, on to everyone tolerates the Grammar Inquisitions at this point. So I'm going to start with this one here. Take it, he said, to a hill, any hill, where no buildings or anything man-made stand on any adjacent hills, and open it on at midnight on any night of a new moon. when the world would be in darkness. So I think you want to remove the second on in that sentence. So it's like, and open it at midnight on any night of the full moon.
Yes.
That makes sense.
All right, so on to the next one.
I do have another grammar-related discrepancy in this section, kind
Sure.
of.
All right.
I did have that one part you mentioned, but there's also another part.
Okay.
Basically, just that entire thing is one sentence that has just a string of commas everywhere.
I have that. I actually have an example of that exact thing, like I think a quote down in my grammar acquisitions. But yeah, no, you can continue.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna say it's the exact thing you just read, where it's take it, he said, on a hill, no buildings, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, and yeah, it just needs. There's way too many commas, and I think like that's a common thing in the story. Like I said, the example I was gonna give was I put 3 bullets into it, and it jerked and flopped down on the hood, comma, leaving a smeared, comma, bloody mess where it made contact, comma, while the rest of the creatures held back just within visible range, comma, watching with amused, comma, sinister expression on their misshapen faces. Jesus.
Yeah, that is a big one.
Yeah, that was my comment. I was like, that was the point where I was like, okay, I need to leave a comment here about how run-on this is, and how like the descriptors are good. We just need like some proper like periods or breaks in these descriptors.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure.
Yeah.
Although with the previous one with the hills and such, the one part that was kind of confusing to read it as well, it says to a hill, any hill, where no buildings or anything man-made stand on any adjacent hills.
Yeah.
That stand on part is kind of clunky to me.
Yeah.
Or anything
true.
man-made stand on any adjacent hills.
Or anything man-made stand. Yeah, that's like it's like just put like
or anything man-made standing on any adjacent hills.
Yeah, that would definitely work better.
I did rewrite that whole thing into 2 sentences, so I'll just do that real quick.
Go for it, yeah.
He said to take it to any hill where there's no buildings or anything man-made on it, or on any hills adjacent to it. Open it there on a night of a new moon at midnight, when the world would be in darkness.
Boom, done. Yeah, and that's all we got for that then.
Yes.
Okay. All right, then on to the next one. I jerked back to myself with such a shock that I collapsed on the spot to sat stupefied in the darkness. So I think you want to, not and perhaps or perhaps sit, not sat. So
Past.
Sorry.
Past.
Yeah, it's past tense. So it's like I jerked back to myself with such a shock that I collapsed on the spot and sat stupefied in the darkness, or on the spot to sit. Yeah, I think and sat is still so replace the two there with an and.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then my last grammar acquisition is actually a friend and, but it's one that I'm just taking it away slightly, Mikey. It's okay. I'll bring it back.
He hasn't said a damn thing.
I know, but it's a front end that I'm talking about.
No, he's just seething with rage right now.
Yeah, it'll be okay. But this is the quote. And they watched as I did when the police drove away, their gaze as one turning back to me. So I would actually this is obviously a front end situation. However, I know how to fix it. And it would be that to switch the to move the and at the front to actually behind after the comma in the middle of the sentence. So it would read like this: they watched as I did when the police drove away, and their gaze as one turned back to me.
Yeah,
just like we do. Like we do the conjunction junction and the it stories, but we never actually this is the first one where I picked it up and I was like, well, this is actually a really easy fix on this one. So I felt like I wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, you just move it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's my grammar inquisitions. So Mikey, E stands for evil.
All right. Well, you got all my regular ones. So all I have is a it story /conjunction junction.
With one less and in it.
I mean, he can leave it in there. Like I said, I gave it back.
I know.
I was just lending it for my example. Anyway, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and And now, a conjunction junction with an it story by Mikey. The E stands for evil. Take it away.
And then it all went to hell. It started with an act of kindness. It was a great surprise to me then when I encountered him sitting at a bus stop in the middle of a torrential rain, just barely covered enough to avoid being completely soaked, but it was evident to anyone who looked the poor man was cold, wet, and miserable.
Take a breath. Take a breath. I know you're a cosmic demon, but take a breath.
It appeared to be nothing more than carved rattan, something typical of Southeastern Asian nations, so I didn't think anything of its appearance. It was just a box, after all. It worked for him, he said, and even though he had recently lost his house in a brush fire, he still said what the box had shown him kept him happy even as a wandering vagrant. It only lasted a moment, though, so I attributed it to nerves and took the box in both hands. It wasn't glowing, ticking, or bleeding, so I assumed it would be okay to open it, so I did. It made that scream again, so much more horrible up close, human once, a long time ago. But as the cops searched, I could see those things peeking their heads into windows, lurking across the street, and peering inside, avoiding the police like it was just a game to them. And they watched, as I did, when the police drove away, their gaze as one turning back to me, Finn.
Wow. Yeah, those run-on sentences also really kind of just make the conjunction junction and its story just that much longer, more coherent.
Yeah, a little bit. Although with the lack of context in the first bit, it was saying this is that and this is that. But then when it actually brought up a noun, the noun was the box.
Yeah.
So the person that he was saying, oh, that person's sad, but when I finally met them, they're a box. And the box is
happy at the box.
And the box itself is of human origin because it said it used to be human.
Oh god! Oh god! That's the true horror of the story.
Yeah,
the box.
And then it's mentioning the scream, so I imagine he just opens the box and then it's just a face just mushed into the shape of a box. You're like, ah,
kill me.
A little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And that's the end of your grammar inquisitions there, Mikey?
Yep.
All right. On to Gamer in Yellow.
Okay. Right at the start with the police procedural section at the start.
Yeah.
There's one section that I think just needs a comma for clarity.
Sure.
It's advised single male tenant in room 16 was shooter, comma, and that when he checked in, tenant appeared fatigued, comma, paranoid, and possibly on the run. Yeah, sorry. I think okay.
You added it in?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
It's just the way I read it. I think I unnaturally put a pause in. So my problem section, at least personally, I think is and that when he checked in, tenant appeared fatigued. That section.
Yeah.
There's no comma in there. I feel like it should be and that when he checked in, tenant appeared fatigued.
So put a comma in between, when he checked in, and then
Yeah.
Okay.
Because otherwise it's and that when he checked in, tenant appeared fatigued. There's no break in it.
Yeah,
it just
that's
seems weird for me.
Yeah. And
then my next one, which we've kind of started talking about a little bit in regards to the box. When it was first brought up, there's no noun. It's the quote is, it appeared to be nothing more than carved rattan, something typical of Southeastern Asian nations, so I didn't think of anything of its appearance. So when I read that sentence, I'm like, okay, what the fuck is it? Because rattan is a rattan, or however you pronounce it, is a material.
Yeah.
It's not a noun.
Yeah.
And granted, the very next sentence says it was just a box after all.
Yeah.
But it's weird that you don't lead with the noun.
Yeah, I did actually have a comment on that. Because you read that descriptor, it's it appeared to be nothing more than carved rattan, something blah blah blah, and then they give it it was just a box after all. I was like, okay, I'm glad they at least gave you the descriptor. I'm glad they gave us a descriptor a little descriptor after the description of like what exactly we are looking at. Because at the initial part, I was like, so is it like some kind of like carved idol or like carved thing? And then it's a box. Okay. Like
Better late than never?
What?
Better late than never?
Yeah, I guess. I even the other thing was like, what the hell's rattan? And I had to Google that, and like
I did too.
And I was like, and I was finding so many different things. I was like, oh, okay, so it's like some kind of like wicker material.
Yeah.
Like the stuff that they use for like making like wicker boxes or like wicker chairs. It's like a type of like Southeast Asian like wicker material.
I saw like kendo sticks and stuff made
Yeah.
of it as well. But yeah.
Yeah, there was a ton of stuff, and I was like, this doesn't help.
No, it really doesn't.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I guess I learned like what that type of like wood and stuff is now. Like, so when I go to Walmart, I see like those wicker chairs or like those wicker boxes that you like sell in the seasonal aisle. I'll like, oh, that's rattan. Okay.
Unless it's not made out of rattan,
or
it's just
fake
something
rattan.
else.
It's rattan.
Yeah.
It's pseudo rattan, or it's like faux rattan. Anyways, yeah.
Either way, that could be very easily changed with it appeared to be nothing more than a carved rattan box.
Bam, done.
Like you don't need that entire extra mini sentence.
Yeah, something typical of Southeast Asian nations. Like there, bam, done.
Yeah.
Why?
Reasons.
Yeah.
So, my next part
Mhm.
is in regards to when the shadow creatures are chasing him, shoots one of them on his car, and then goes home, right?
Yeah.
So the end of that paragraph is, while the rest of the creatures held back just within visible range, watching with amused, sinister expressions on their misshapen faces. 2 hours later, I saw them again, but like that's when it jumps to the next paragraph.
Yeah.
There's no word of not being around them, or it's not like he doesn't. It's not written that he loses them. Just he's being attacked. They're there, and then all of a sudden, 2 hours later, they're there. Still, like again.
They're still no. It should have been like 2 hours. They're still here.
Yeah. No, but I saw them again, as in they were gone at some point. But he never lost them in the story, at least from what he wrote down. So it just felt weird.
Like even when the cops were there, like he could see them, but they were hiding in a way that the cops wouldn't ever be able to like notice them.
Oh yeah, I just mean like he apparently escaped the first attack, but it wasn't mentioned.
Yeah.
And here's my quick one sentence addition to the attack at the very end. At the very end of the first attack section, that would clarify it. So while the rest of the creatures held back just within visible range, watching with amused, sinister expressions on their misshapen faces. I floored the car and sped away from there. Quickly, I watched them fade away into my rearview mirror until they were gone. And then the next paragraph starts with 2 hours later, I saw them again.
Bam. Yeah. Man, you're just like dropping the mic on these, like, these are how you fix it. Bang.
That's how I do. That is the whole point of our grammaring positions and such. It's not be like, okay, this is wrong grammatically. Anyways, this is also wrong.
No, exactly, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's to help improve the writing.
Yeah, and it's also helping, at least I believe, it's helping us as well with our ability to write, because if we can notice what's wrong, then we know what's right.
Yeah, it's like at
least in our own opinions. Yeah.
Yeah, the like this is wrong, and so like this is like this is not what not to do in writing. Like and like I'll take that to heart, and like to my when I go and do my own writing, I'll try to remember to not do this in my own writing.
Yeah, you can kind of learn quicker through reading other people's quote unquote mistakes than making them yourself.
And that's not a bad, like we're not like shading anybody for that, like for having
of course not
in there. Like we're just commenting. It's like that's like again, it's how you learn from mistakes and like revising them.
Sure. So I got a couple more.
Sure.
This part I just feel needs to be just clarified a little bit. I had driven home, locked and bolted the doors, and prayed I had seen things, and that the still present gore on my car was just my imagination.
Yeah, I think I know what the problem is.
Yeah, it's around where he's saying that I prayed that I seen things.
I know what he's trying to say, but he's not saying it correctly. Like
I believe I know how to.
Yeah. Okay.
I had driven home, locked and bolted the doors, and I prayed I had only just seen things.
Yeah.
And that the still present gore on my car was just my imagination.
Or like I had been seeing things, because
yes.
that's like what he's trying to get across is like that he was like just imagining it, not that he's praying that he had actually seen these things. It's just like the way it's like the connotation to it, like to the way it's written. It's like that's I don't think that's the word you're looking the phrase you're looking for or the way you're looking to read it. Or
But we both knew what he meant.
Yeah, I know, and that's the reason I knew what he meant is why I didn't add it to mine, my grammar acquisition. But I'm glad you did actually bring it up because that is kind of a sticky situation there.
Mm-hmm. The way I see it when I'm reading something, if I'm stumbling over it, there's something wrong with it. Because I read pretty slow. So if I'm tripping up while I'm reading slow, then something's going on.
Fair.
And my last one, I believe, just needs a comma. That would clarify things a bit.
Okay.
I tried and failed to find Owens, comma. Sorry. It doubles up. It's confusing. Sorry. Restarting. Take 2. Boop. I tried and failed to find Owens. And tried and failed to find the body of the one I had killed, if anything, to prove these things could die. So the part that I think needs a comma, even though there's a lot of commas in, is in regards to if anything to prove these things could die.
Yeah.
Because the way that I would say that personally would be if anything to prove that these things could die.
Yeah.
Like the break in between anything and to prove. And that's it.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, that was actually I mean, not to say that our previous ones are like we've been slacking off in the previous ones, but like this one felt like a lot more like we're proactively trying to help fix problems a little bit more in this one.
Maybe.
I don't know.
The last one, there really wasn't anything for me to comment on. That was like,
I might just be overthinking it. I don't know.
Maybe.
But all right, I guess we will move on to actual thoughts. So I'm just going to start with this one. The Village of Vernon Constabulary. So I being how I am, I like to look to see if things actually exist somewhere.
Yep, I did too.
And so I went on Google Maps and checked to see like how many Vernons there are, or the Village of Vernons there are.
Probably a lot of people named Vernon.
But the Village of Vernon is what I.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. I was looking for town under Google Maps, not a person.
You didn't clarify.
I know. Well, all right. Just welcome our show.
Exactly.
So this is the top 4 that I found. There's Vernon, BC.
Yep.
There's Vernon, Ontario. There's the Village of Vernon in Michigan, and the Village of Vernon in Wisconsin.
That's the one.
Yeah. So the story definitely has ties to Ichor Falls. With like the Hellraiser-esque exchange of an unusual artifact from a homeless guy. And it does say that he did leave the state, and since Ichor Falls is in West Virginia, I'm assuming he means the state of West Virginia, to escape the creature. So yeah, I was curious, and I had to like know, did you do anything further to like see if like one of those Vernons had the street?
Yep.
So
that's why I said.
Oh,
when you said Wisconsin, I'm like, that's the one because there's a MacArthur Road in Wisconsin.
Oh, nice.
It is slightly north of Vernon.
But it still exists, and if it's outside of the town of Vernon, that means that it would be like that's the perfect place to have a motel.
In the jurisdiction of the Vernon police.
Yeah, and that's usually also where you usually find motels is like on the outskirts of towns. So,
so it checks out.
Wow, yeah. So we actually were able to like pinpoint where this took place. So that's cool.
Yep. When I first looked up Vernon, I saw BC. I'm like, so this is taking place 3,000 miles away from freaking Ichor Falls.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. How are they gonna tie this in? Yeah.
Yeah. I was just like, I thought that would be an interesting thing to just like kind of dive into a little bit. And we already covered the rattan thing that we looked up earlier. So then my next one, I'd driven home, locked and bolted the doors, and prayed I had seen things. Prayed I had been seeing things that the still present gore. Oh, and that the still present gore of my car was just in my imagination. And to this, I was like, I guess it was, because like the cops really don't notice that at all when they're like taking his statement and stuff.
That's true. He says like I want to say I was just seeing things and that the gore wasn't really there, but he doesn't go out and check or nothing. Or
like the cops, like they don't bring it up at all when the cops are there, and so like. And they do say that like they thought that they were worried that he maybe have hit somebody. So like, did they find like gore on his car? Did they check the car at all? Like, God damn it, Ichor Falls. I mean, I know Ichor Falls is not in the state of Dirtland.
No, it's not.
But like, and I know like that also like the cops in Ichor Falls have a tendency to be like conspiratorial and like have like a secret society behind them.
Mhm.
But like, come on, guys.
Also, not in Ichor Falls right now.
Oh no, this is in Ichor Falls. This is when he's like in his house, not in the motel in Vernon. This is when he lives in.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is in Ichor Falls, and it's just like seriously, guys. Like no one like. I guess the like no bringing it up that like for confirmation that like there was no gore on your car when the cops showed up. Like,
well, here's the thing, because the cops showed up, assuming that he may have killed someone, and he didn't say anything about killing anyone, it's left to assume, that that it's because of the car. So the entire time, I imagined there was blood on the car.
Yeah,
but
that
it is not
the
confirmed.
takeaway from that. Sorry, could you repeat that? I jumped over.
But it is not confirmed.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just I as soon as I read that, I was like, you straight up said that you like there was gore on your car.
Mm-hmm.
And then like I like how like the cops like not seeing anything, they just give him like a citation of like for false call. It's like, wow.
Even though there's blood on the car.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. No, that's what was confusing me. Like, even though like they were afraid, they were worried he'd hit up somebody. So I guess they just like, oh well, you obviously just hit like a deer or something. It's like, all right, there, Derek Green.
Yeah.
What? Apparently, Derplin. They sent out Derek Green from the state of Derplin to West Virginia.
Yeah. Exchange program.
Yeah.
So Derplin has one very good police officer, and
yeah.
And,
a single
one very bad police officer.
Yep. There was an exchange program.
Yeah.
We cycled out. It's like, listen, there's too many dumb cops in Derplin. We need at least some competent like ones in here. So I'll just take it from that small town in West Virginia, Ichor Falls. All right, yeah, there we go. Anyway, moving on.
That's canon now.
Yeah. One day I will run that Delta Green game where you guys are just Derplin cops.
Jeez.
So honestly, sorry, just a slight aside. That's basically just like that is. I've been listening to a podcast called Pretending to Be People, and it's straight up just the Derplin police officers.
Like they're purposefully being idiots.
Yeah, and it like I could see the town the town of contention being in Derplin because they never tell you, like they purposely say like the big city nearby. Like they never just say what city it is; they just call it the city.
This city.
It is literally like a police academy situation.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my god, this is the town of contention is in the state of Derplin. Anyway, moving on. So if I don't make it, spread the word and let my death and let my death serve as a warning. Let everyone know that if you're going to play with destiny, make sure you do it right. Was this really about destiny? It seemed like the reward was simply like some way of like making you like happy despite your troubles, or like it was like some kind of like true happiness.
Mm-hmm.
And the price of it
changing your destiny, maybe
not. But
because
like,
if you're destined to be sad because of all these horrible things happening, you can change your destiny with this thing.
I guess,
right?
Like maybe that's what he was going with, but it seems a little bit like I have kind of a different like take on this, because like the price, if you do it wrong, is not happiness, but in fact death by some demon thing. And then that clicked in my head when I was writing this up, and I was like, wait, was this a Pandora's box analog? Only you do the ritual of opening it right, and you find hope in the box instead of the unleashing the true evils of the world. And in the myth of Pandora's box, Pandora opens the box out of curiosity and such, and unleashes all of humanity's ills and evils. However, at the end of the story, while she's like suffering for what she's done and stuff like that, she looks in the box again and finds a small spark of light that is hope.
Yeah.
And so I was like, that it seems so much more appropriate, like as a kind of a message for this story, or like as like kind of like the theme for this story, to have like the Pandora's box, like a reverse Pandora's box, depending on how you do the ritual. And it just seems like you find it gives actually a reason to do this ritual. Like it's kind of like a covert ritual pasta in this story, because like if you do the ritual right, you'll experience joy that will stick with you, even during like your most troubling times. But if you do it wrong, you get eaten or ripped apart or vanished by demons.
Yeah.
Which it actually gives the reason for why you would do this. Whereas like a lot of
instead of most words, just like say Bloody Mary 3 times in the mirror
and she'll come and get you. Except Bloody, except for that one, like the original idea for Bloody Mary was that you would see your future spouse in the mirror, and if you saw like the skeletal form or the bloody form of somebody, it means that like you were not going to have a husband or a spouse, or you're not going to meet the love of your life.
Okay.
That was the origins of Bloody Mary. But yeah, like in the modern time, it's more of like a dare to die kind of ritual.
Yes. What was that creepypasta we did somewhat recently? That was kind of similar.
Oh, Devorador. The one
Was
where
it?
like you just summon a demon that rips apart like your family, your friends.
Oh
you.
yeah, for reasons.
for no reason. Yeah, absolutely no reason. It's just don't do that ritual. Do not find that book. Do not seek out this choose your own disaster book.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's the absolute worst, because some of them is just like the monster will show up and kill you, but only you. That one kills you,
your family,
your entire family line.
Yeah. It's a blood curse. It goes after everyone,
it's
and including
worst.
like your friends as well, like people that you have a bond with. It's so ridiculous.
Oh my God. So if that happened to Kevin Bacon, it would kill the entire world.
Oh no, we'd lose like half the world.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad we revisited that for a second. All right, let's continue.
Yeah, continuing on to my last actual thought here. So this is about addendum number 6. Per order of Chief Byron, all further investigation halted and all files flagged for destruction. No? Why? I'm pretty sure you don't like destroy files like from like closed cases and stuff. I'm pretty sure they're stored away unless
I was gonna say, you said before that apparently Ichor Falls has a lot to do with like
a secret
police
society that like covers things up and stuff like that. That's my that's one take. However, the take I wrote down is unless the SNTF doesn't want anybody to find out about this stuff.
That's true.
Covering up the Rata box incident.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're 100% right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That brain worm is still just worming through my head. Thanks, guys.
Excellent. You're welcome.
Just like a worm, like with the branding on it, SNTF.
Yeah. Trademark.
Yeah. Yeah. SNTF. TM. And for those of you who don't know, who haven't listened to any of our previous stuff about the SNTF, we're talking about a headcanoned fictional task force called the Supernatural Task Force. That we just insert into creepypastas when we want to make it funner.
Damn right.
But yeah, so yeah, no, I was just like, I'm pretty sure they don't flag files for destruction. I'm pretty sure they get stored away, unless of course like there's like a secret society or like there's something more going on within like the circles of the police departments. Because this guy would have been like they would have found. Did they find any identification of this guy? I guess they found. He wrote down like what his name and stuff was at the motel when he checked in and stuff. So I guess they could have like figured out that he was from Ichor Falls there. Then like contacted the Ichor Falls Police Department, and then that's when like the conspiracy of cover up would have started.
Yeah, because if all of this was just because of if this was just the police report from Ichor Falls, which it isn't, all the Ichor Falls police knows is this guy maybe hit a guy or something. But the Vernon Constabulary, how do you say that? Constabulatory?
The Vernon Constabulary. Constabulatory?
No, there's no T. There's no second T, rather.
The Constabulary. The Constabulary, yeah.
Yes. The Vernon Constabulary, they see all this weird shit because they have the note and everything.
Yeah.
But if they're taking the note as the damn truth, and they have people in Vernon that can back it up, then at that point, maybe everything would be destroyed.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they might just think it's just mad ramblings of this guy that just went nuts.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's like, okay, this guy's obviously unhinged. Like, actually, there's a very similar a real life mystery case that happened about like similar to this, where a guy from Canada, he just pulled out all of his money, like thousands of dollars, out of the bank, and then vanished. And they found him dead in a parking lot 300 miles away in a state in the United States. Dead, naked in an apartment in a parking lot next to his car, and all of the money was accounted for around him.
Really?
Yeah, and we still have no idea. There were signs initially, like when he would be right before he left and went off the grid and like vanished from Canada. He was experiencing like some like bouts of paranoia, like he thought somebody was following him or some things were following him, and so that's why he grabbed all his shit and just vanished overnight. And then they found him again like a couple of weeks later, dead, naked in a parking lot in the United States. None of his money had been taken, but it was all there.
Oddly enough, that's the strangest thing. You figure looters would show up or something.
Yeah, that was why, like, that was like what's really fucked up about it is like why didn't the looters or why didn't the mugger take the money? Or I mean, I don't remember if it says that it's American money or Canadian money, so it might have been that they didn't take it.
That's not worth it picking up.
They because they were American muggers and they saw that it was Canadian money. I was like, I can't use this. Fuck it.
What's this guy carrying all this Monopoly money for? Idiot.
Yeah, but why'd I kill him for? God damn it, died for nothing. I'm out of here. But no, I think it was American money. He he pulled money out of.
Yeah.
Loaned down to the States for no reason. Like this has some parallels to that story, in like the situation. It's just this one has more of a supernatural bend directly in the story, whereas that one we're not sure what the fuck happened to that guy. Future me, if you can remember, put that find that mystery and put a link in that into the descriptions, please. Hell, if you could just mention right now the that murder case's name was. The unsolved mystery of Blair Adams. Blair Adams was a 31-year-old Canadian resident who was found dead in a parking lot of a Knoxville, Tennessee hotel on July 11th, 1996. Scattered around his body was nearly $4,000 worth of mixed Canadian, American, and German currency. For more information, check out the Brian Adams entry on Unsolved Mysteries Wiki, or the murder of Blair Adams on Wiki. Back to you. Boop. Thanks. But yeah, that's my actual thoughts. So Mikey, these stands for evil.
All right. Well, continuing on with the thought of the supernatural task force.
Of course.
Please do.
The box is an environmental tool used to basically, it's there to force people to clean up the environment, and it has like a radius effect.
Uh-huh.
So if you open it up and there's nothing that needs to be cleaned up, then it says, "Hey," and gives you a reward.
Fonzie pops there. He's like, "Hey!"
Yeah.
Double thumbs up.
But if you do it wrong, it's like, "Hey, you're fucked, man. I'm gonna kill you."
Well, now we know what all those creatures look like when they're not in the shadows.
God damn it! Now I gotta draw that. I gotta just draw like one of these creatures, like as a misshapen dark fawns, just doing the "Hey."
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Text you, so you.
Yes, please do. Continue, Mikey. I apologize.
Well, anyway, so the creatures are just there to make sure that you clean up whatever garbage is there. So they don't typically attack unless they're provoked, and clearly the guy killed one of them.
Yeah. Also, the way you say that, I do realize, like, so wait, yeah, they didn't really attack him at all. They just surrounded him, like, and waited and watched him. They were just waiting for him to go over to that shed and start cleaning that up.
Yeah, yep. Exactly.
Like, it was a rundown piece of, like, bunch of, like, timbers and, like, lump and, like, debris and stuff. So, like, they were just waiting for him to, like, go clean that up. It's like the most, like, extreme version of, like, those community service programs that we had in high school and in school.
Mm-hmm. Or they weren't waiting on him to clean it up. basically you open the box and it summons a whole bunch of workers, and then you are their foreman. You step in and say, okay, there's a shed over there that needs to be ripped down. It's
If
interfering
you
with
could
the
go do that,
environment.
yeah.
Yeah, and then they're
Yeah.
like, sir, yes, sir. And they'll just
They're-
drive.
they don't have it in the story, but like they have pitchforks like devils do and stuff, but they're actually just like pitchforks for like stabbing and like collecting like debris on the ground.
Totally, yeah.
Oh my god, I want to write a story where that's just like you accidentally summon utility demons. Utility demons.
Yeah. Utility.
They're just utility demons. Oh my god. I want that
ripe with
story.
fodder, it seems.
Wow, it's so good. Ichor Falls, like several other like several creepypastas we do on we discuss on the show, are just fodder and like pools of inspiration for like your own stories and creepy things.
Mm-hmm. Hence all these submissions.
Mm-hmm. But sorry, Mikey, we keep jumping in. Continue.
That's because it's bringing up awesome things.
I know it's crazy. I keep rolling sand.
Yeah, what's your number at now?
I don't ask. At this point I have the feat mad certainty where it don't matter.
Yeah, well, that was the main thing for Supernatural Task Force, because I mean it explains everything so nice and neatly.
Yeah.
And then that's pretty well it.
Okay,
You've
I gotta
already
Sorry,
touched on things, so
yeah. Sorry, I do want to bring up something here. So here's a little bit of a kitchen episode, like kitchen segment that has spawned out of Mikey's segment here.
Mm-hmm.
I think I might actually write or at least run a scenario where it's a ritual pasta that involves finding a manual, like one of those like little like zine manuals that you can find of like, and it's a ritual that a kid or like some teens or like kids would actually try and learn, because the handy part of it is if you do it right, you can summon something to do all your chores. But if you do it wrong, you get sent to hell.
Oh, that's a problem, yeah.
Like I think that like it actually like adds like ties in like why you would summon a demon. Like why would teenagers be psyched to summon demons other than like to be edgy? And the reason is because fucking teens and like kids and us and like even like adults are lazy as hell. So of course we're gonna summon if we can summon a demon. Of course you're gonna summon a demon for the sole purpose of just cleaning up your shit.
Mm-hmm. Or like a homework demon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Homework demon. Oh God, yeah. No, I love it so much. I want to write either a creepypasta or a Cthulhu or like a horror scenario that the whole premise is just like some kid found like a zine version of the Necronomicon that allows you to summon like house demons.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it could even be like Russian, like be in Russian, and it actually summons like those house spirits, the vulgar or the future me. Boop. Really? All right. It's called a domovoy. Boop. Thank you. Those house spirits that like clean up your house and shit like that. But if you do it wrong or you disrespect them in any way, they fuck up your shit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's of course what happens because dumb teens.
Well, of course.
Wow. Yeah. I thank you, Mikey, and damn you, straight to hell. Once more. Gamer, you're up.
Oh, all right. On the note side of things, I don't really have a whole lot. This one part where it's still in the opening, it says Officers Jennings and Henderson dispatched. I was like, please tell me that Officer Henderson's first name is Larry, because Larry Henderson's that random name I give people that need a name.
Yep. See, I was thinking Harry Henderson.
Oh yeah, that's another one. Yeah.
It's just a giant Bigfoot who lives in Vernon.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God damn it!
Now you got another story. There you go. He's a member of the SNTF, of course.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why they covered it up. Why it was all flagged for destruction. He's part of the SNTF.
Yeah,
it all comes together. It all comes around full circle.
It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, moving on.
Yes.
It started with an act of kindness. Credits. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
I mean, I'm glad that's in there because it makes sense to be in there. But yeah, it's a little credit-y,
It's the title drop.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then, so when I started reading this, I'm like, it's in this different town, right at the very get
You were worried.
burning. I'm like, oh god, it's gonna do it again.
Yeah, I know. You were worried as I was until like, oh,
Yeah.
good. He is from Ichor Falls. Okay, we're safe. We have connective
Mhm.
tissue.
Yep, 100%. Exactly what I was gonna say.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. And then moving on to ambled, which is a word I haven't heard. To walk or move at a slow, relaxed pace. I learned a thing.
Yep.
So it's saying like I'm ambling around is just I'm just taking it easy.
And it fits perfectly for Owens.
Oh. So normally when I tell people like when I'm saying bye, I'm usually like take it easy. I could just be like amble. Right?
I guess. I mean, I think it's more its use is like, all right, I'm just gonna go amble around the block for a little bit. Just like
That's also taking it easy with it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, or it's like I'm just gonna amble around the house for a little bit, like just to kind of like stretch my legs.
See, I like learning words like that you don't normally hear, and they potentially have a use.
No, for sure.
And instead of what was that word that I was obsessed with last time? I purged it from my memory banks because I didn't want to remember.
And I haven't edited that episode yet. Future me. You know what? No, you check this one out yourself, man.
I mean, I'm looking it up.
Okay.
I thought it was the previous one, Song and Dance Man. It was Cedar Cove.
I think it might have been Cedar Cove, or was it Victoria?
Parsimonious.
Parsimonious. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
That was from the Cedar Cove incident, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, now we can move on.
Okay. We're safe.
Yes.
All right.
Then, the last note is just about the ending. It just kind of wraps around to the ending, but it doesn't really say much with it, aside from everything's flagged for destruction, which brings up theories of what's going on in the police. Up? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which is kind of nice. Although, with how this started, I was kind of feeling it was going to be there's going to be more police procedural in it than it being 90% this note, with just a little bit of a police wraparound.
That said, it is a nice succinct wraparound. Like for
it is,
because like if you're gonna like it has a unique style for it because like or like a gimmick to it because like like this is how like kind of a police report would be like, and like can you imagine like going through like some police files and finding this
if it wasn't destroyed like it should have been?
or like flagged for like maybe not destruction but like flagged for storage or something like that. Or even if you found like a like a partially burned report. Like you found like a partially burned like a folder with this report in it. It was like, oh my god, what have I just uncovered? Like that would be that's the cool like immersion part of the story and the gimmick that's behind it.
Yeah, pretty much. I was kind of I can get into it in final thoughts actually. So that's good.
Oh, okay. All right. So on to final thoughts. So I got a bit of a conflict here. To me, the story just was kind of average. It's told through a fun enough setup and gimmick. There's a cool idea here, and I enjoyed the read, but there are
I'm Ron Burgundy.
but there are some.
You just kept doing that.
I know. I kept doing the like the questioning at the end.
Sorry,
I'm not chills. It's like number 15. But yeah, so like I enjoyed the read, but there's some flaws in some of the writing here, and it just didn't like grab me to the point of like super excitement. But I did still enjoy it, like reading it and such. So that's why I'm gonna give it like kind of on the higher end of like a partial recommendation. Just because like it didn't like super excite me, but like by the time I was done reading, it's like, well, I did enjoy this, but it was just kind of average. So yeah, that's my recommendation. Though I will to copy pasta, a thing that Mikey does. I give it a full recommendation if the SNTF is involved.
Well, of course, that just goes without saying.
Yeah. Sorry, just like my final thoughts did kind of like contradict my previous kind of enthusiasm that we were like when we were talking about it.
I'm a little confused.
I think my initial thoughts after finished reading the story, I was like, it was kind of average to me, and it still kind of is. It is kind of like it's an average story with an interesting gimmick, and that being the wraparound police report. But the story itself is basically just like the plot of Hellraiser, the very base bone plot of Hellraiser, or like Pandora's box and stuff like that. Like, they're cool ideas in here, but with like some of the flaws that it has, it didn't grab me by the end. So yeah, that's why my recommendation is Mikey, These Stands for Evil.
Yeah, well, for me, it's a partial recommendation because, like, as we pointed out, there's flaws. Like, if this was supposed to be burned, why are we reading this?
Yeah, like as written, like partial recommendation for me.
Yeah,
I mean, it could be a situation where like it was flagged for burning, but then like one of the guys that was gonna burn it reads it. He's like, "What the fuck? Why would they burn this? I can make a copy of this and then burn the legit
and then
one."
post it on creepypasta.wiki or no, sorry,
Yeah.
and then submit it to Ichor Falls, the community website.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Actually, what would have made this really cool if this had been printed and then somebody like burned the edges and then took a photo of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like that would, and then like did like a transcription of what it is. Like if there had been like an accompanying photo of the burned like report.
Hmm.
Yeah. Or just have it. Yeah, it's putting another layer into it, but have another wraparound around the police wraparound around the story of a guy saying that he found this or like how he got it. You know.
Yeah, for sure. Like, yeah, just like have us like, hey, so I used to work at a police department in Vernon, and I found this. Like, we're told to like dispose of a bunch of old files that were like completely like unnecessary. But like right before I tossed it into the furnace, I checked it, and I could not get rid of. I could not destroy it. This was too fucked up.
My life is fucked up, and I need to find out where this box is.
Yeah, and that's where I think that's why like that's a cool like start like jump like this story is a jump off point to something bigger.
Mhm.
Like where is the rata box? Like where's or is it a ratata box or a raticate
Pan?
box?
Yeah,
Sorry,
Eradicator.
I did not mean to like butcher that. The rattan box, yeah. Like where's like what happened to that? Is it?
I don't know because he opens it and then it disappears technically because he never mentions it ever again.
Yeah, did he throw it? Like that's some of the flaws in the story. Is like we are kind of missing a few like details. Like maybe he like tried getting rid of it. Like maybe he thought the box was the cause, so he like tried burning it or like threw it away. So now it's out there somewhere in Ichor Falls.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
But yeah.
So yeah,
Please
like
continue.
I said, it's partial recommendation, but yeah, full recommendation if you have the Supernatural Task Force
As everything should.
as the environmental cleanup demons.
Mm-hmm.
Environmental cleanup demons.
Or the fawns.
Yeah, I thought you. Oh man, I thought you said or the Fallens. Like it's like the fawns with like the fallen because demons are generally portrayed as like fallen angels.
Ah, then yes, exactly
Oh
that.
my god.
Wait, I guess it's my turn, eh?
Yep.
So, I like that Ichor Falls has a kind of SCP entry now because that's kind of what it felt like.
Kinda.
Because it's very like by the books at the start and like talking about all that. I just kind of wish it went further into the SCP like story.
Yeah. The kind of way I think maybe not just like don't wholesale steal it from the SCP like format, but like use that as inspiration for like something because I could see this. I actually recently got a series of books that are by a guy named Andrew Barr, and they're called The Unnatural Order of the Three-Eyed Skulls Field Guide, and they are basically like a dossier for like a metric shit ton of cryptids, both made up and I do in quotes real,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of like urban legends and stuff, and they are treated kind of like they are treated as like kind of a report on like these like on the sighting of the creature and so on. So like you could do something like that with Ichor Falls, where like maybe it's like the Ichor Falls Police Department's like X-Files, because that's what the X-Files of the show, that was what the base premise was that Mulder and Scully were looking into the FBI's X-Files, the files that have no logical explanation at the time of their investigation. Yeah, like that's actually what the X-Files means is that they were actually like classified files that like of investigation that the FBI hadn't gotten around to yet, or they just like they shove away in like a dark corner where Mulder found them.
Oh,
yeah.
Well,
So,
that's neat.
Yeah, so like you could have like this like you could take inspiration from like SCP and like those kind of format for Ichor Falls to have like basically an archive of police reports that stem from the Ichor Falls area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sorry.
Pretty much.
Sorry, I didn't mean to steal your show again.
That's what we do on
I
every
don't
single.
mean to though.
No, I'm not blaming you. I'm saying both of us chime in on everything.
Okay, yeah.
Us, not Mikey. But us.
Yeah, Mikey is our quiet little demon boy.
Yes, he is. But yeah, either way, I wish there was a little bit more of the police procedure part in this, because it seems like it's pretty light on what the police had to say about all this weird shit going on. Like there was nothing even theoretical about, oh well, given the writings in Addendum 17 or whatever, subject was suffering cases of this, that, and the other. Like it doesn't go into it too far.
Yeah, like sort of like a secondary like a secondary report, like, or like a secondary page is needed to like show like clearly this person was suffering from this kind of delusion.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even like it said earlier, like he was on some kind of like drugs, so like maybe they didn't although we didn't find any drugs, it's similar to like PCP or like such and such like symptoms from like the use of this kind of drug and stuff. Like try to like show the mundane attempt to explain it away.
Mm-hmm. Because the police section's just too bare bones. It's basically just the crime scene, and then that's it.
Yeah,
but it's like basically it said the blood and the spent casings. That's about it. But was his body even found?
No, I don't think it was. I think it was just there was a bloody, messy room. And the door was opened, was knocked off its was forced in off its hinges, but with no like identifiable like means. Like it wasn't like a foot hit it, like smashed it in or anything like that.
Yeah, like that's why I think there should be more investigation, because like okay, it was forced in and there's blood everywhere, but are there like footprints that lead out of the blood?
Yeah,
or there's so much left to be questioned. But
like, maybe
overall, go ahead.
Oh, and I was just saying, and maybe that's why it's fly for destruction. Like again, there's something like that. The lack of information here might be evidence as to a conspiracy within the setting
within Vernon.
Yeah, within Vernon and within Ichor Falls. That's why it's flagged for destruction. In this, all as per Chief Byron's orders, he's like, nope, we're done. I've seen this before. We're not dealing with this shit again. Yeah,
I wonder if maybe they contacted the Ichor Falls police because he's from Ichor Falls, and they're like, "Ah, shit, this again? No, you're done. Just stop."
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, I think I would love to. I think this is also why, like, I was just like, this is a neat gimmick, but it's kind of an average story because there's not enough here. Like, I would love, like you, I would love to see an addition to this story where we find out like that. Yeah, there's some kind of like we get some more hints as to a conspiracy other than what we're just kind of building off of from our own headcanon.
Yeah, we're kind of grasping at straws, trying to make a conspiracy out of nothing.
Yeah, much like actual conspiracy theorists. Oh, indeed. Please don't.
Shots fired.
Please don't add us.
Okay, but overall, despite the things I bring up and the few grammar-related discrepancies I had, I still really like the story reading through it. It directly mentions Ichor Falls, even though it's not in Ichor Falls, so that's good points for it. Like it says, a lot of the events take place there and everything, despite it ending out of state from it. The story gave a good mental image of everything that was going on. I didn't have to question too much. Even the box thing, it was quickly fixed by them saying it's a box, even though it was a little late.
It was like kind of like a hit, like almost like okay, there we go.
Yeah, a little bit of lag in that description, but that's fine. It even told us what went wrong with the ritual too, so like that was pretty neat. Again,
right at the very end, because it's like kind of like the zinger at the end. It was like, well, because the whole time I was like, I hope this story tells us what the fuck he did wrong, because it didn't present anything that he did wrong until like the very end. I was like, saving that for the end, saving that little bit for dessert.
Yeah, because if that wasn't mentioned and there was actually nothing man-made around him, it could be that
the guy lied.
Is just some demon And he's just
Yeah.
like, I'm going to give this guy this box and pretend to be happy, and then he'll do
yeah.
this and we'll kill him.
Yeah, no, 100%. That was kind of my thought. Was like reading through the stories. Like, did Owens just like fucking like just screw this guy over like for no reason? Like,
He's just sitting in the forest being like, "Got you, fooled you." Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, was he actually one of the? It would have been really cool if he had actually turned out to be one of the demons. I like what we got now, because it's like, you fucked up because you weren't paying attention enough to your surroundings.
Yep.
Like, it's the foible of the person, not it wasn't a trap.
Well, he also wasn't even sure if it was going to work. He was like kind of skeptical, but he's like, "Fuck it, I'm going to do it anyways."
I mean, but that's actually a natural reaction. Like, I mean, come on.
Yes.
Like, I would be like that if, or like, I assume someone else would, like, regular people would be like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But all in all, with all that said, I'll still recommend it because I still enjoyed the story. It was clean. Everything was visualized quite well. The monsters were, they're scary, but they're also not like, you can still deal with them if you had to, kind of, because he shot one. They're not, if they can bleed, they can kill it situation, you know?
If it bleed, okay, well, it bleed. We still can't kill it. Oh God.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I actually did like how, like, the one did just drop and fall to the ground, but then, like, all right, you killed one. There's hundreds around you.
How many bullets you got?
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, that body apparently got up and left.
Yeah, exactly.
So he could have been playing possum. He could have just needed. He was on a cooldown for his respawn timer.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of reasons. But either way, I still enjoyed the story. It's better than most Ichor Falls story. Not most Ichor Falls stories. It's better than some Ichor Falls actual stories.
Yeah.
So I'll still give it a full recommendation.
All right. So mostly positive. Partial recommendation from me.
Mm-hmm.
Partial recommendation, though complete recommendation if it was SNTF related, from Mikey, and a full recommendation from you, Gamer and Yellow.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah. No. Again, like, that's why I was kind of conflicted. Like, by the time we'd finished like talking, I was like, because I originally started as like, it was just an average story when I read it, but the more we started talking about it, the more kind of excited I got.
Yeah, because there's so much fodder potential in it.
Yeah, but there are flaws to the story. But I mean, like, that's also can be said for every story.
Not every story can be Hooba's fault. Let's be real.
Yes. However, anyways, regardless, yeah, I mean, generally, like, yeah, go check this one out because it's actually a really decent creepy story from Ichor, or submitted to Ichor Falls. So that was this week's episode. If you like what you heard, or if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below. It gets posted, whether it be on Podbean, Facebook, YouTube, or Tumblr. You can also send us messages on Twitter. Mikey is at the E stands for evil. The Gamer in Yellow is at the Gamer in Yellow, but without that W because his name is too long.
Yep.
And I'm at Review Cultist. You can also send us emails. Go to aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDENTERIGAMORTIS@gmail.com, where you can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas, spooky stories, SCPs, cryptids, ghost stories, any of those. We want to hear you. We want to hear if you want us to discuss them. So please let us know. And if you could, if you'd like to support the show, you can go to Patreon, look up Aldente Rigor Mortis, and select the backer tier you'd like to support us at. We have $2 and $5 tier with special episodes, early access, extra content. For our patrons that are already helping support the show, thank you guys immensely. You're helping keep those hosting bills at bay. And as always, we very much appreciate that. To our listeners and the creators of these stories, thank you guys immensely, because without your listenership, we wouldn't have much of a show. And without your stories and creepypastas and entries, we really wouldn't have much of a show. So thank you. Until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey. The E stands for evil.
I'm the Gamer in Yellow.
And this has been Al Dente Rigor Mortis. Sleep well.